everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's been a little while since my last Speed Duel decklist, but I have been cooking. This deck is really fun to play and has a really fun resource loop. This is what I like to call Fish Turbo. This deck revolves around 2 cards, if you count a skill as a card. The skill we're using is a Bountiful Ocean. It reads as: any non-effect water monsters you control are unaffected by non-water monster effects, which is not the important bit. It's a nice addition, but the second effect is once per turn you can add 1 water monster from your graveyard to your hand, but for the rest of the turn you cannot activate cards for effects until you normal summon this monster. Now in Speed Duel it's slow enough that you can add a monster and you don't need to activate any more effects, or you can simply just activate effects and then use the skill. It's a really good resource loop. You can just keep adding fish back to your hand and keep summoning them. So let's go into the deck list and show off how this works. So starting off the deck list, we'll start with the skill, a Bountiful Ocean. Now, as I explained in the intro, while Umi is on the field, I didn't say that in the intro, but you have to have Umi on the field to use either of these effects. The first one isn't so important. Your non-effect water monsters can't be targeted or affected by other monster effects that aren't water. That's not so important. I mean, it's nice, but the second effect is once per turn, you can add back a water monster from the graveyard, but you can't activate effects until you normal summon that monster for that turn. But because Speed Duel is so slow, you can just add back a monster and then use it next turn. You don't really need to use the effects. Or you can use effects from your hand and then activate the skill. It doesn't say that you can't use effects during the turn. So this super powerful resource loop, and I'll show you why it's so good in a second. We're going to start off the main deck by going through our spells and traps. To start with, we have a Legendary Ocean. This has to be at 3. We need to see this. This counts as our Umi for the skill, and it reduces the level of all water monsters by 1, which is super useful. We have some really big beaters, level 5 fish, that we can summon out for free. Well, normal summon for free with this here, and it enables the skill to allow you to kind of loop those round and keep using them over and over and over again. So this is a non-negotiable 3. This must be at 3. Now, we're going to go on to our limited cards, kind of our ban list cards. We have 1, Offering of the Doomed, our limit 1. This is so useful. I would say this is non-negotiable for any other kind of limit 1. As opposed to Floodgate Trap Hole, which I think some people would run over this. This is a lot more proactive, and it gets rid of the monster off the field, and that's what you need. This can help you go for the OTK swing turn, or it can stop your opponent from using an effect or monster that might interrupt your Legendary Ocean kind of resource loop. So this is a super useful card, and I highly recommend you play it in this deck if you do want to run this strategy. Next one is also non-negotiable. It's our limit 2. We have 2 Foolish Burial. Now, Foolish may not look amazing, but when you consider the skill can add back any water monster, Foolish is suddenly amazing. So this is basically a fish rotor in this deck. You can send any water monster, and as long as you have the Legendary Ocean on the field, you can just add it back to your hand. So you can search pretty much any of your water monsters in this deck, and we run quite a few niche ones that you can search out that I'll show off shortly, but this is also non-negotiable. Now, what is negotiable is the limit 3s. We have 2 Book of Moon, similar reasons to Offerings of the Doomed. It kind of interrupts your opponent's plays, and it can stop them from swinging over your fish if you really want them to not do that. But we also have 1 Piercing card in here that this can sometimes help you go for game. So it's a good card, obviously. I mean, it's limit 3, but you could probably end up cutting it. Now, this one definitely is negotiable. In fact, you probably should cut it if you're going to run it. It's a Wall of Disruption. Now, obviously, it's an amazing card. There's a reason it's limit 3, but the only reason I'm running it is because I have an Ultra of it, because I pulled it from the OTS pack. So you're probably better running 3 books, but, Wall of Disruption is still a good card, and if anything, in a beatdown strategy, having 1 of these is quite fun. Especially if they see the other Books of Moons, and they just assume you're running 3 books, because that makes sense. It can catch people off guard. So that's our limited cards out the way, but we still have a couple of traps left. By couple, I mean 3. We have Fish Depth Charge. I've always compared this to Gemini Spark. This is Fish Gemini Spark, Fish Spark. It's essentially the same thing. You tribute a fish, and then you pop 1, and if it does, you draw 1 card. And with the fact that you can add the fish back, this suddenly becomes really good, because it's essentially a free pop and a free draw. And yeah, again, mandatory 3. Now on to the monsters, the fishy boys. This is what it's all about. Now for your other mandatory 3, it's this guy, Warrior of Atlantis, who looks like an elemental hero, but he's not. This is your 4th, 5th, and 6th copy of a Legendary Ocean. But not only that, because you discard him to search for Legendary Ocean, you can add it back, you can summon it, and it's 2100 with Legendary Ocean on the field. So it's a beta, it searches your ocean. It's the best card in this deck, honestly, because it just does so much. I know I've said this a lot this video, but this deck list is very tight because we need another mandatory 3. This is Terror King Salmon. This is that level 5 fish beta we were talking about. It's got 2400 attack, and it's a water and a fish. That's all there is to it. You know what, let me read you what it says on the description. A feared salmon, master of the Sea of Darkness. Its roe is the best delicacy in the world of darkness. So you have to run him. His roe is the best delicacy in the world of darkness. But yeah, he is your beta, and once again, if he dies, add him back. And also, because he's a normal water, if you have Umi on the field, or a Legendary Ocean, monster effects just won't hurt him. So he's a really, really good card, and he's like your main win condition, just to get as many of those, foolish him into the graveyard, bring him back, and just beat them to death with the salmon. Now we have some very interesting one-offs that you could probably switch around, but I really like these. The first one we have is Lost Blue Breaker. This is a Sea Serpent Water, and as long as there's another fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua monster on the field, you can target or tribute this and target Spell and Trap and destroy it. And because you, once again, can loop it, you can really just go ham against back row heavy decks by either searching it with Foolish and then just using it over and over again, or just hard drawing it. It's a really good card. I think if you're not going to have it in the main, at least put it in the side against, so you can side it in against like back row heavy decks. This one I definitely wouldn't take out the main. It's Gay Lizard, as we call it at locals, but Gale Lizard. It's a water once again, so you can add it back, but its effect is flip. Target one monster, return it to hand, so you can just keep setting this guy and keep bouncing stuff. It's such a good card to run, and it's really annoying to play against. At least that's what people tell me. And for the last card of the main deck, we have Piercing Moray. This is that piercing fish we were talking about. Yeah, it's literally, its only effect is piercing. I mean, you contribute another fish to give it 600 attack, but it's very rare that you want to do that unless they, I don't know, Marshmallow. That's not even in the format, but you know, it's good to have a piercing, and because once again you can search it with Foolish and a Bountiful Ocean, it's just worth running on those fringe cases that you do need that piercing.
Something I forgot to mention in the video is that I always run 6 cards in my extra deck on Speed Duel, even if I'm not using them. This has a minor advantage, especially if you're going against an opponent that doesn't know what you're on. It keeps them guessing, and even if you're not going to use them, I always recommend running 6 cards in the extra, especially at big tournaments like YCS. It might not be great at locals, but it can catch some people off guard, and is still worth running 6, even if you don't have any playable ones.
So that's it for the main deck. Let me go into the side. Now I will note that side decks are highly dependent on what people are playing at your locals or Speed Duel kind of tournaments. I'm prefacing this because there's a guy that plays Gaia at my locals, Gaia OTK, who just summons a Gaia and kills you in one turn, like 6700 attack. And that's the reason we run 3 of these guys in the side, because we hate Gaia. So yeah. It's not applicable to everything. It's still a really good card, obviously, Sphere Karibo, but it's mainly against Gaia. And our other sides, we have a Dust Tornado against really trap-heavy decks, if Blue Breaker really isn't cutting it. And then we also have 2 Night Beams as well for similar reasons. So that's it for the deck list. I'm going to do a couple of test hands, just because I feel like it, to be honest, because I don't have a Speed Duel tournament this weekend. So just to show what an average turn 1 and turn 3 would look like from this deck here. Just do a quick shuffle. And this is the only reason my Speed Duel cards are double-sleeved, because I love shuffling double-sleeved cards. Okay, that should do it. Let's say... So you can go first or second. In Speed Duel, I recommend you go second. So let's say we're going second, huh? It's not exactly like they can set up many Omni Negates. Let's see. I'm just see. I'm doing this backwards. My camera's flipped, so forgive me. This is a good hand. Yeah, I'm doing this upside down, like my camera's flipped, so forgive me if the cards are upside down. So we got Foolish, Legendary Ocean, 2 Fish Depths, and a Terra King Salmon. So we'll start with Foolish. What do we want to grab? Well, we don't want to grab the salmon. So what would we like to recycle? We'll probably grab... It kind of depends on what the opponent's first turn was, but we'll probably chuck a lizard into the graveyard. And then, of course, because we have the Legendary Ocean, we'll go Legendary Ocean. And then we can summon this guy for free. We'll set 2 depth charges, mainly because if one of them gets popped, you can still use it. And we'll also use the skill to add the Gay Lizard back to our hand. So far, we've just summoned a 2600 attack guy. We have a pop, and that's about it on the board. But next turn, we can set a Gay Lizard. That'll get flipped. And we can just add this guy back as well. Like, this deck is nothing if not consistent. I think we'll do one more test hand as if we were going first. Not that that's ideal, but, you know, that happens usually game 2 of 3 if you won the first one. I'm not sure if I'll continue doing test hands for my deck lists, especially in Modern. I don't know if I could manage that. That would make the video about 20 minutes longer. But let me know if you like the test hands, just to show you what you can actually do with the deck, because I kind of enjoy doing them, I'm not going to lie. It's not like I'm not doing them anyway. So we're going first. Let's see what 4 cards we get. Ooh, that's a really good grip. We got the Legendary Ocean, Foolish Burial, Gale Lizard, and Warrior of Atlantis. So here, I will always send Warrior of Atlantis to search another Legendary Ocean. If only for the deck thinning, but also because you can do what I'm about to show you. We can go Legendary Ocean. And now that Umi is on the field, we can use... We won't use our skill yet, actually. We'll use Foolish. And we'll send a Terra King Salmon. So that basically has just searched Terra King Salmon, our win condition. So I would probably set a Lizard on turn 1, but then use the skill to add back the Salmon. So going into our opponent's turn, let's say he kills this, I bounce his guy, and even if he kills the Legendary Ocean, that's fine. Although that's really unlikely. That rarely happens, especially on turn 1. So we draw for turn, and because we searched the other Legendary Ocean already, we have it, so we can just pop it on the field, and Umi is live again. We will probably just summon the Salmon here, and then use the skill to grab... We can either go Gay Lizard or Atlantis. We'll probably go Atlantis just to ensure that if they do pop the Legendary Ocean, we just get it back anyway. We can't use this effect this turn because we have to normal summon it first to use any effects. We'll set the Fish Depth charge, and then we'll get some damage in, and we can just pop, and then just summon him again next turn. It's absolutely brokenly consistent. Brokenly? Is that a word? It's crazily consistent, I'll say that. So if you're looking for a deck that just grinds out opponents, this is it. Summon fish, attack with fish, fish depth charge, blow up your fish, and then attack with the fish again. It's such a fun deck. I highly recommend trying this out. And as always with every Speed Duel deck, it's really cheap. Obviously, you don't have to go for the secret rare stuff. All of this is probably about £5 in total. So highly recommend this deck. It's good budget, good fun, and yeah, it definitely can win you tournaments. Thank you so much for watching. Are you enjoying Speed Duel at the moment? Because I know it's a little bit of an unpopular format, but I think it's really, really fun, and I love making these deck lists because skills really change the deck building capabilities of Speed Duel, which is why I love it. That being said, if you made it this far in the video, please do feel free to hit subscribe. New Yu-Gi-Oh videos each week, and as always, happy dueling.